So Bethesda Game Studios and I have a complicated relationship. And if you followed this channel for any length of time, then you'll know that I was grossly disappointed at the release of Fallout 4. It did not fulfill any of my expectations, and to be fair, I was a little over invested in what that game had to offer, and I was very, very disappointed when I got what I inevitably got. But all of that's beside the point. The point is that I am a fan of Bethesda Game Studios despite this one hiccup, and I am always intrigued whenever they do anything, which, to be fair, is quite rare. They don't poke their heads above the hatch very often, so to say. So when they dropped all of a sudden this live stream leading into the release of a trailer, a teaser trailer for Fallout 76, which no doubt you've heard of, I was intrigued. I was very interested as to what they had to offer, so I watched it, and I've got some conflicting thoughts, and it seems as though most of the internet agrees with me and shares this same feeling. So at the behest of many people who follow this channel, are on the Discord server, my patrons who help keep this show going, everyone's been asking me to just talk about this whole situation for a little bit, and so that's what I'm gonna do while playing Fallout 4 footage in the background of Rasputia, our mascot for this YouTube channel, so to speak. So if we just talk about on the outset, as a teaser trailer, it's actually functionally not great, because at the core of a teaser trailer, the goal is to tease a future larger announcement and to give a sneak peek as to what they're doing. Now, there is an argument you can make where you say that it's actually a fantastic teaser trailer because it makes everyone freak out. It makes them want to see more. It makes them want to find out what this is really all about. And to that extent, I do agree with you. But at its core, I think a teaser trailer should give you at least some idea as to what you're dealing with when you are looking at the trailer. With Fallout 4's teaser trailer, I thought it was done quite well. You got an idea of the wasteland, of the scope of the game, of the approach, the graphic style, what they were trying to do. With Fallout 76's teaser trailer, you have no clue. We just don't. And Jason Schreier is now saying that if you look forward to this game as a single-player narrative RPG, you're going to be, quote, very disappointed. And that's what he tweeted out. All caps, very disappointed. So naturally, I'm concerned. I'm worried because I love Bethesda for their single-player campaigns, for their narrative RPGs. And so to hear that if you look forward to that in this game, you're going to be very disappointed, that's concerning, naturally. And lots of other people are very concerned about it. And it sounds as though what this game is going to be, and of course, maybe in a week or two, when E3 comes around and Bethesda announces the game fully, it may be that all of this is a moot point, and you're going to be watching this video in the future laughing at how idiotic this whole discussion is, because we were so wrong. My perception, though, of what this is going to be is simply that they are going smaller scale, and they're bringing in cooperative gameplay. And what some people have said, some leaks have corroborated this, is that the building mechanics, the settlement building and management systems that were in Fallout 4 were basically a tech demo of what's going to be implemented in Fallout 76. And so they're going to double down on this. Now, what does that mean? Well, it could mean that we're going to be tasked with building up settlements, managing them, and trying to start some of the same little cities and civilizations, hubs of civilization rather, that you encounter later on. And this is corroborated by the fact that the game is taking place literally only 25 years. I believe the official number now is about 25 years after the bombs initially fell, which is intriguing and in and of itself. But also the fact that in the trailer you hear the booming voice say that at the end of the day, their job is to rebuild. That's what they're doing. Once they leave the vault, they're rebuilding. So that would heavily imply we're going to be building stuff. Now, that's not inherently bad. I just want to stress that. Everyone's been freaking out, making Rust comparisons, Ark Survival Evolved comparisons, because of this building tied in with cooperative gameplay, and that's fair. I can see why people might be a little hesitant to that, because it's not Fallout. The entire idea of Fallout is that you're the lone wanderer in this very desolate area, and if you were playing on this large map even, but you were constantly running into other players, it would feel very, very dense. It wouldn't feel as lonely and desolate as it should. And that's at the core of Fallout gameplay, is this desolate feeling. And so people's concern for these comparisons, it's very warranted, and I don't blame them for that. As for what we know right now, there really is no information to say either which way how it's leaning. But I agree, I don't think there's any reason we should expect anything other than sort of Fallout 4.5. That's how I would phrase this. And you better believe, marketing 101 when it comes to gaming is that if you add +1 to whatever the number is next to the main title of the game, that the expectations are going to be incredibly high. That's why we haven't seen anything from Elder Scrolls in quite some time, and it's because the expectations for Elder Scrolls 6 is ridiculous. It is sky high and then some. And so naturally, they are taking their time, whether you look at Half-Life 3 or Portal 3, whatever Valve is doing. All of this causes immense issue because the expectations are just so high. So naturally, Fallout 5 is going to demand much respect and time and care from Bethesda Game Studios, and they're not going to rush that. They're not going to take their time. That's partially why this was such a surprise announcement, because we didn't expect to see anything from Fallout for another 7, 8, 9 years. Easy, because it doesn't look like they're passing it off to any other studios. It looks like they're going to double down. If anything, the next thing we were going to see was going to be an online adaptation of the series, which it looks like this is it's not ESO, but it looks like this is their attempt at that, to create a game that they can kind of I suppose double down and try to really emphasize the online play, which tends to be much more profitable for companies over the long term. So with all of that said, I think that it's very intriguing. I don't think the teaser trailer did a great job, but it does at least interest me because I'm not sure exactly what this game is going to offer. And as Bethesda with Fallout 4 really struggled with, I think they're still struggling with managing expectations. And I don't envy them. I don't have any magic solution or suggestion. And I know it's not good to make a criticism of what somebody else is doing without having some sort of solution in mind. But really, there probably is no solution. It's just a tough situation. Just like I don't know how you manage expectations for like Grand Theft Auto 6 or Red Dead Redemption 2. Apparently Take-Two knows how, and they're managing it fairly well. I don't know how you manage that, and Bethesda apparently doesn't know either, because expectations are getting so unbelievably out of control already. And that's partially just because it's Bethesda, but it's also partially because these are franchises and series that people know and that they love, and they really know what they like and they know what they don't like. And so the thought of taking it online with cooperative gameplay where there might be microtransactions, there's rumors and leaks going around by so-called employees of Bethesda saying that they're going to be cutting out open mods from the game, which their justification for that is that it's online, so it's to reduce cheating. But in reality, it's just how they can force you to use Creation Club, once again doubling down on their monetization. Again, it all comes back to the money. So all of this could tie together, and that does make sense. And that's one of my predictions for this, is that Fallout 76 is going to take mainstream, like open mods, Nexus mods, out of the equation. They're going to eliminate it because it is online, and it wouldn't be fair to open up tons of modding to a game that is always online, which I believe this one will be. But it is once again at its core motivated by profit, which again, I'm not one of those people that thinks profit is evil. I understand it, and I'm glad that these companies are making a profit because it means that we get more games, even if those games don't happen to be exactly what I like. I'm still glad that the people creating them, the artists, the very, very talented people at these gaming companies, can do what they love for a living. I find that lovely. I support them wholeheartedly, even if it means that I don't get the single player game that I had longed for and hoped for. Now, on the bright side, the other way of looking at this is simply that it's a very tame and very restrained, I would say, teaser trailer, and that they're managing expectations by not showing a huge open wasteland so that they can really wow at E3. Pete Hines, the head of the vice president for PR and like marketing and all of that at Bethesda Games, or Bethesda, not just Bethesda Game Studios, he said that there's a lot still to come and that they have not even shown their best cards yet. And that at their conference at E3, they're going to be showing some really amazing stuff. Now, some leaks have suggested that we're going to get our first peeks at the concepting for Elder Scrolls 6. I don't think that that's necessarily true. I think we are going to see something about Starfield, which you better believe is still a project that's going on. I think we're going to hear from the mobile studios, and I think we're going to see more info about Fallout 76, and I think this is really Bethesda testing the water to see if they could potentially implement cooperative gameplay into Elder Scrolls 6, cutting out mods from that and doubling down on Creation Club, which you better believe they're not just going to abandon and let sit there. It was never meant to work perpetually side by side with open mods. It's not, because the entire idea was to make money from it, and you can't do that if better mods are available for free elsewhere. So I know that that's probably going to get me crap just for saying that, but I'm trying to be honest here, and I think it's important to just manage these expectations and understand what these companies at the end of the day are going to try to do, because that's what they're going to try to do. And if I became aware of that, if I knew that, or at least heavily suggested that and had reason to suggest that and believe that, then I would be a bunghole for withholding that information. So I don't want to do that. And yes, I just used the word bunghole. But regardless of all of this, I'm still intrigued. At the end of the day, I'm still interested in seeing what Bethesda has to offer, because I love Fallout just as much as the next guy. I was heartbroken at what Fallout 4 was, because there was so much potential there. And it's still a good game. At the end of the day, it's still a good game if you approach it as an open world shooter. If you approach it as an RPG, you're gonna have a bad time. But if you approach it as an open world shooter, it's great. It's fantastic. The problem was, once again, expectations were not managed. And so going into this next game with you and me side by side, I think we really do have to look at that and try to manage those expectations as best we can, because really that's at the core of this. We control how this game is going to be perceived by us. If we expect very little, if we're expecting Fallout Online with all sorts of microtransactions, whatever, and then we get pleasantly surprised that it's okay, we got Creation Club, but at least we can modify and build settlements, and we can go and become king of the raiders and then add that settlement to this settlement, and like we become king of the wastelands. Like that's pretty cool. I think that could be a fun game, just because it isn't the exact game I originally envisioned when I thought of the next Fallout game. It's still a fun game, and that's what we're expecting. We want fun games to play, and if a company can offer that, even if it's a company that we would like to think is capable of much more, if we gave them another 3 years or 5 years or 7 years, however long, it's still, at the end of the day, what we want, which is a fun game. So if we go into it with that expectation to have fun with whatever it is that they can offer us, I think this can still be a very positive experience. And I think that that's a reasonable expectation, and that's just born out of my own disappointment with Fallout 4. In the background of this video, you've been seeing all sorts of gameplay. Me running around the early moments of Fallout 4, trying to kill Mama Murphy because she's horrible. Like all of these things, I can see the passion. I can see what Bethesda wanted to do. I just think it wasn't what their fans necessarily wanted, and I'm not sure that Fallout 76 is necessarily what their fans want from them either. But it's very possible there's still more. So I'm going to hold back my, I suppose, criticism. I'm going to keep back all of my speculation. I'm going to restrain myself from going any further, because I think that there still is a lot more for us to see. And I personally am I'm freaking out about how excited I am for E3. This thing is going to be insane. Potentially hearing from CD Projekt Red about their next project, Cyberpunk 2077, hearing about secret projects that Bethesda is working on, a new Fallout game. We're going to get to see more information on The Last of Us Part 2, potentially even a sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn, Days Gone, all of these games that I am freaking pumped for. I cannot wait, and I'm sure you can't either. So at the end of the day, I just want to thank you for listening to these ramblings. The fact that anybody does, it's kind of amazing to me, and I really do appreciate it. With these types of videos, this I like to classify as a Talk Gaming Extra. Basically, it's sort of like an excerpt from the full podcast that we try to do as frequently as gaming news allows, and it's just a chance for us to sit down and talk one-on-one. And the idea is to start a conversation between me and you, whether it's here in the comment section beneath this video, which I will read all the comments. That's my guarantee to you. Or if it's also tied together on the Patreon, which, as I said earlier, is the way that I can fund these videos while going to school. Or if it's on the Discord server, which of course is free, and I welcome any of you to join that. We have all these conversations, so we could talk about these things ad nauseum, because it's what we're passionate about, and that's why we all congregate in those areas. So I encourage you to join one of those spaces so that we can continue the conversation. I do want to hear your thoughts on Fallout 76. Maybe I'm being too critical. Maybe I'm being too optimistic. Maybe I have my expectations all kerfuffled. I want to know what you think. I will read and I will try to respond to as many as I possibly can. I really, honestly, and truly will. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, especially. And I look forward to hearing what all of you have to say wherever you choose to let your voice be heard. And so with that, thank you for watching. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.